So we've got two presenters this morning, Andrew Cassera and John Randall. Andrew's from Integration Partners. He's been in the kind of IT field for about 18 years, covering VoIP, networking, security, sort of vendor solution integrations. So he'll be the first presenter. John's with Bradford Networks. Been with Bradford and a couple startups in the Boston area, if I recall, for a few years, and they're really going to be speaking about BYOD. And I think there's two distinct presentations, right, if I recall. So what we'll do is we'll have Andrew present first. About 15 or 20 minutes, we'll have questions afterwards, but I think he's comfortable with questions throughout, so if you have anything you want to talk about as the presentation goes on, feel free to interrupt him. I think the same goes for John. We'll try to save a few minutes at the end for questions, perhaps across both presentations. So, and we'll try to keep that track of the goal to get us out of here for 11:25. So, thanks.
So I'm going to talk about DDoS. How many people familiar with DDoS, distributed denial of service? Raise your hands. How many people have actually mitigated and defended DDoS? Okay. So I come from e-commerce environment prior to my past couple of years, and I kind of fought this pretty consistently. So I'm kind of going to go over a real use case. Prior to us making decisions on our mitigation strategy, and we'll go for a use case at the end, or a case study of what happened, why we got hit from the attack, what we did to mitigate the attack, and then what our strategy or lessons learned. And I'll start out with just an overview of it. Again, denial of service attack, for those who are not sure, you have certain resources within your infrastructure. Bandwidth, DNS requests, TCP connections. The idea of an attack is to go after infrastructure, consume the resources, so you can't either serve your application or even communicate well. This is kind of traditional infrastructure, right? So on a typical load balancer and firewall, that's kind of where your resources will be limited. Connection standpoint, or even CPU memory as well. On the router side, you have memory, CPU to worry about, and obviously there's just overall bandwidth consumption. So in fact, we consume these resources to try to take them out. Why do these occur? Two different reasons: extortion, bragging rights, revenge, damaging competitors, political reasons, collateral damage. Some of the real world attacks that I've been through was extortion. Somebody called and asked for money to stop the attack. So this is kind of how easy they spun up today. So DDoS for hire today, right? This is some pricing. If you wanted to attack somebody for an hour, it's $5. For 24 hours, it's $40. So spinning up resources and actually instigating attacks, right? You could actually get it for hire today. It's kind of ridiculous, but that's kind of what where it's going. Where do they come from? This is kind of the graphic is kind of how I feel about the folks that propagate these attacks. Malicious entities usually acquire hosts through compromise, so they'll go through networks, they'll compromise hosts, they'll compromise phones, tablets. Later we'll talk about. There's a quote from the CIA director about smart appliances getting compromised. They're all entities that can be part of a DDoS attack profile. Right, so that's, as they become compromised, you have a group of, now a large group of compute resources now that are centrally controlled. Traditionally, it was centrally controlled either through an IRC channel or actually through 480. Now, they're actually scripting or using peer-to-peer to try to communicate and kick off these attacks. So they're getting that much harder to shut down the command and control traffic. Here's the quote, right? From monitors. Smart refrigerators that are using distributed on the network. So these are devices that are vulnerable. So as more of these devices proliferate, potentially you're looking at your attack vectors getting much larger. So this is kind of a logical view, right? You have somebody or some entity, whether it's a script or whether it's a centralized control channel, someone's controlling a tremendous amount of devices with the intention of compromising devices and initiating a program to alleviate resources and infrastructure so you can't either communicate by traffic toward your application to bring down communication. Some of the traditional ones, these probably don't even see much, or you might see these multi-vector attacks, TCP cloud attack. There's quite a bit of UDP flood attacks that are going on. Connection overload, so if there's a limitation of connection whether on a server or on a load balance or on a firewall, they'll just take out the connection table to a point where the device can handle any additional connection. Part of the flood attack is deflection attacks. So what a lot of the entities out there that are propagating these attacks will do is they'll figure out a protocol and they'll look to reflect. So they'll do what's called spoof, the IP address of the target that they're going after, and they'll hit an end system to reflect the traffic back. And what they do is they'll actually look to amplify that. So for argument's sake, if it's NTP, they'll hit an NTP server for monitoring. They'll spoof the source address of who they want to attack. The response will come back as a reflection or as an amplification of that. So your request might be a few bytes, 60 bytes, whatever. Your response could be 600 bytes, 1,000 bytes, depending on how many NTP servers are in that monitor list. So obviously there's things about hardening the NTP servers and stuff. Application layer attacks, those are the ones that I've done against, that go right after your web server or right after your database. They look to inundate the application. Peer-to-peer attacks, if peer-to-peers across your infrastructure, they'll leverage that infrastructure to actually scale out and increase bandwidth again to bring down communication. And then there's a combination of all these attacks, which is being seen quite a bit. VeriSign is a cloud provider. If you look at their Q2 reports of last year, there was a 300 gig attack, 30 different vectors using all these types of attacks. So this is off of Akamai. Everybody knows that in the CEN that they purchased a company called Alexic. Alexic is a cloud-based DDoS mitigation service. This is kind of the distribution based on protocol, what they're going after. So what they've seen, and I don't know if you know about Akamai, they see probably about 10%, 50% of the whole internet traffic. So in their DDoS services, they're seeing this is the distribution of how attacks are. So still 80-90% going after the infrastructure layer. Luckily, there's only about 10% that on the application layer. The application layer attacks are much more difficult to mitigate. Targets. So I know education hasn't been a big sliver of overall what the target is, but it is starting to grow. If you talk to these folks, the feedback is that attacks are starting to increase on the education sector. But this is the overall verticals of how they're mitigating it. This is all the VeriSign's code report, so the size of the attacks. So still, the majority of attacks are so far larger than 1 gig, I'd say less than 5 gig. Again, you do see tremendous size attacks, right? The one that was 300 gig was more of a political attack. So how do you defend, from my perspective or my experience, whether it's a tool set or the individuals within the infrastructure, they should know the infrastructure as much as possible. I know the applications, what applications are running on networks, what number of connections, the application usage levels, pop talkers, if you have capabilities from web analytics or application analytics standpoint to understand the components of, let's say, top user agents, let's say, those type of components that you can actually see that and actually mitigate that against that future attacks. Having that knowledge gets you ahead of the game. And you'll see that in the case study, how we were attacked and we went through the steps to understand what the actual vector of attack was. Time of day activity is important as well. activity during the night, and they have a lot of activity during the day. To automate your alerting as much as possible. These are just some suggestions from an operational standpoint. Know the capacity of your network, right? Each component in your network, if your server's serving off a web server, know the number of connections your server caps out on, know your real throughput, right? Vendors tend to give you marketing numbers on the capacity of their infrastructure. Know the real numbers as much as you can. Know the capacity that you're actually every day doing the internet. I mean, I kind of, my history was always I come in on a daily basis just to know and understand the changes that are in your environment. So you know if you see a spike in traffic, you know, who instigated the spike? Was it an event? Was it somebody popping inside? History might be marketing, they put out a marketing campaign, and all of a sudden you see 30-40% increase in traffic. Just that kind of knowledge of your infrastructure is important. Know who you serve. So a lot of the attacks that I fought against, you found that a lot of the compromised hosts came from hosting facilities. We were an eyeball network, meaning a Comcast, cable provider type network, right? We wanted the eyeball networks hitting our website. There wasn't a lot of traffic initiated from the host agent. So one of the things that we were able to do is if we were able to actually identify the address owners to be associated with colo providers, we were able to mitigate this. So one thing from a host perspective, right? Needs a victim of malware, right? So one of the things that people talk about endpoint security and malware is they don't want their organization's data getting out. They want to lock down the spread of vulnerabilities and compromises. So the other thing that comes out is a lot of the malware that's instigated, they end up being part of botnets, and that's part of the command and control channel that actually starts instigating these attacks. That's something to consider, right, from that perspective. So you may even see spikes. You may not even be a victim of the DDoS attack. You might see outbound spikes from your infrastructure, and that can be them leveraging your internal infrastructure actually to attack somebody else. So there are tools. Some security appliances today, you'll have DDoS with volumetric capabilities to block or limit them. There are purpose-built, there is purpose-built infrastructure out there today to mitigate DDoS attacks that are specifically on volumetric and countermeasures to fight against known attacks. There are also cloud-based services such as VeriSign or Akamai or something like that, where you actually redirect traffic through their infrastructure and they mitigate based on their struggles. There's some logistics to setting that up in some scenarios. Sometimes it's a DNS swing, sometimes it's a BGP swing, but that gives you the capability to leverage a cloud provider who sees it on a daily basis, has the expertise, and can mitigate large attacks. How is it stopped? Known attacks are treated like signatures. If you work with security, understand security at all, normally there's a signature relative to the mitigation. It's the same way from a DDoS perspective. There's an understanding of what the type is of the attack and how the signature is treated like a signature, and then there's a specific countermeasure that ties to the signature. Some common countermeasures might be synced with these HTTP redirect, an HTTP object limiting, so if they're hitting a single IP or single session hitting an object too much, limit that traffic. Header filtering, blacklist, access list, zombie filtering is just capacity overall per IP or per session. Hopefully your attacker gives up through the countermeasures. It's a case study. So my background came from that I worked in an e-commerce company. Our normal traffic is roughly 20,000 transactions per second on HTTP, and we have about 5,000 traffic per second for HTTP. This data is probably 5 or 6 years ago. Our bandwidth consumption on egress and ingress was about 50 megabits, our bandwidth consumption on the outbound was up to 600 megabits. We had no DDoS mitigation steps. This was prior to us actually putting in a strategy and going after mitigation. At the start, we had a very large warning traffic spike. Our transactions went on ingress, so it went from 20,000 to 180,000 per second. Bandwidth consumption just on the ingress alone was roughly 200 megabits of traffic. Outbound traffic kind of dropped due to the fact that our downstream devices couldn't handle connection load. Perimeter firewall load balancer, the two things that failed us. So why was it occurring? Front desk, made 800 number, got a phone number, foreign accent, asking to speak to the chief financial officer, looking to sell his consulting services as the attack was made. At this point, all technical teams are engaged, right? So nobody knows what to do. First major attack, we have the application team, the network team, server teams, all working in unison to try to understand what's going on and how to mitigate it, right? Initially, we started out with top talkers, so the heaviest IPs that were hitting the infrastructure. We started mitigating. Just couldn't keep up. The ranges were changing dynamically, and they were growing. Luckily, we had an upstream provider who actually offered mitigation service, so we leveraged that. First kind of steps was to work with them to identify and start mitigating. Again, we started going after groups by IP address ranges to kind of mitigate, and they couldn't keep up, and none of the countermeasures in the current DDoS mitigation structure was mitigating the attack. Basically, out breaking the attack. One of the frustrating things about the attack was we were able to identify large numbers of IPs. We associated who owned those IPs. Scripted through Aaron to identify all the malicious IPs and what address range they impacted. A lot of them, again, came back to colo providers. Colo providers, a lot of them, larger ones, signed contractual obligations to the customers that they wouldn't actually manage or look in the server. So we call these companies up, try to get some information on what the attack was or what was compromised. We work with the NSPSec teams, so our upstream provider is called the NSPSec. If you're under attack, this is a great group of individuals that work with us on a daily basis to mitigate. What ended up happening was a small hosting company ended up providing us, they didn't have a contractual obligation to the customer. They got into the box. There's two files identified, error.php and web.php. Both were encoded in base64. After the decode of base64, that was actually the command and control capability of the box. And error.php was a list of URLs that they were hitting based on reconnaissance that they had done a few days before, that were actually going after the application. Based on that, we were able to identify specifically what was going on. So there was an unusual user agent in the actual task. We used that as a filter. That was the first step of the attack that actually reduced the attack level somewhat with it. And then later, based on that script, we were able to identify expired session. We had a session key based on as you came in and initiated your session on the site. We created session keys that expired, and they were there. And the attacker was using expired, so we were able to put that as well in the filters and make it. We ran for 5 days. It was 3 days until we actually we mitigated within about a day. 24 hours before we had good Lessons learned. Again, know your capacity numbers, know your infrastructure as much as you can. If your infrastructure is too big and you just don't have human resources, then look for tools to kind of do that for you. Again, vendors aren't accurate in their reporting, so make sure you understand the limitations of your infrastructure as much as you can. Have multiple layers of security, which includes scout entry, visibility, in my opinion, is imperative. Your pipe, if you have a small pipe, eventually if you inundated, you have to leverage pipes first. Again, on-premise equipment may not be enough. And again, I think the biggest thing is, as you talk to DDoS managers and others, is what's their distinction between actual human interaction and machine interaction. Any questions?
What was the impact to the organization on that attack?
So they did analysis, and it was a 3-month lag in revenue. So they actually lost recurring revenue that they never normally see. The impact for that day was probably half 7 figures of revenue, about $500,000 just for that one day. So yeah, it was impactful, and it was impactful from a customer presence standpoint. That it extended probably, the guess was about 3 months before they felt that we were back to the levels of growth that we were.
So you were part of the team that mitigated with that?
Yeah, I was part of the network team. So one thing that actually worked well is that all the teams came together and were very good.
So to mitigate this attack, how many bodies were involved in the building?
So there was myself and somebody else on the network side that were working on the network team. There was one individual on the system team, Unix team, and then there was 3 or 4 application folks on the development side. Initially when it hit, the development folks wanted to make a bunch of changes. We asked them not to make changes, so the attack vectors would be identified a little easier. But they helped dramatically in identifying. They used the web analysis tool. They came to us and said, here's a normal user agent, here's a copy user agent count. And then those are the things that we were able to identify with the filters and then actually work with the upstream tools.
Did you have any security modules on your load balancers to mitigate any DDoS?
So at that time, no, and that's actually the load balancer that we had. So from out of this exercise, we were looking at DDoS mitigation 6 months prior to this happening. We had a strategy in place, we had a budget in place, and then, to be honest with you, the business at that time said, it seems to me like it's insurance policy, we've never been into this before. So what happened, that insurance policy opened up, and we had a lot of revenue, so a lot of budget. So from that, we were able to upgrade our load balancer, we put in a DDoS mitigation layer, we started looking at more flow-based network visibility. We started looking at more application-based visibility. With the combination of the layered approach, we were then attacked, times after. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
So my name is John Randall. I work with Bradford Networks. I guess before we get started, we're going to talk a little bit about enabling BYOD one-to-one initiatives, just to kind of get an idea of the crowd. Who here works with K through 12? Okay. And then anyone in higher ed? And then anyone not education specific? So has anyone here ever heard of Bradford Networks? So with with BYOD, it's a huge trend. It's actually something for people that are in higher ed. Some of you guys have been experiencing for years. You've always really dealt with students coming on and wanting to use their own personal devices. K through 12, enterprise, somewhat newer. You think about like healthcare, doctor comes in and asks why their iPad doesn't connect to the network, why they can't pull up certain things. K through 12, some of the trends you see, boards saying we want to enable BYOD, they push back on you and say make it happen. And then I think over last year what we were seeing is trying to upgrade your infrastructure and be able to support all the new devices. This year they were on the network. And then what you're starting to see is maybe some issues around security, maybe bad software coming in, viruses, malicious hosts. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Part of when enabling BYOD, onboarding, being able to cut down on your responsibilities, your tasks in terms of being able to support the students or support the end users that are coming on. And then overall, just avoid any risk that's going to be introduced to the network. With BYOD, most people are associated to mobility. One of the common mistakes when talking about BYOD or one-to-one or mobility is you just associate it to wireless. Students are still able to obviously bring devices to the infrastructure or to your environment. Maybe they have a slow connection on wireless. There's a port in front of them. Maybe they want to plug in, VPN, things like that. So there's different ways that users can be able to access your infrastructure and still be able to obviously do digital learning. So typically when you look at a corporate environment, everything was owned, managed by you. There wasn't a lot of risk. You knew everything that was there. You, for the most part, knew who the users were plugged in behind. You started to look at BYOD, big trend, Internet of Things, now devices, like refrigerators, vending machines, IP cameras, everything. Started getting plugged on your network. What you're doing is you're increasing the number of devices that are on your infrastructure. A lot of those devices, mostly headless devices, you're not really going to be able to put any types of software on them and make sure that they're safe and trusted. Really what you're doing is you're just increasing your overall risk. Once you have that risk, or maybe something was to happen on the infrastructure, now what you're doing is you have lots of different pieces of information, maybe limited internal resources, lots of different technologies between the different groups. I know you referenced it, you had maybe 2 or 3 different groups that were working on the threat when it came on, so each team probably has their own solutions that they're using. The processes that are commonly in place when we're working with schools are a lot more manual, so they just take a little bit more time. And then when you ask what that process is, it's not always completely obvious. One person will have one idea of what it might be the other. So being able to actually take a step back and think about what potentially could happen on your infrastructure and set these policies into place. So if you did just a simple Google alert, maybe type in BYOD, K through 12, education, some more common things that you're going to come across. People saying there's a lot more devices. It's hard to manage the devices. We don't always know what's up there, who's on it. When you take a look, we actually did an internal case study. About 95% of education actually allowed personal laptops or personal devices to be utilized in the classroom. Of that, not all of them are actually using up-to-date antivirus or require up-to-date antivirus or operating systems. So there's a lot, when you start to add a lot of new devices and you're not making sure that they're trusted and they're up-to-date. I know like Windows XP was a big one over the last year. Does everyone here feel like they've already gone through and removed Windows XP from their environment? I was working with a school a couple weeks ago. They still actually allow XP on the environment just because some of the teachers that are there learned how to use XP. That's just what they're comfortable with. They don't want to go on to anything else. It's confusing to them. They're being successful teaching their classes with it. And so the school actually made a policy to allow particular teachers to still have an infrastructure, which on a security standpoint. So when you start to look at BYOD, there's really 4 ways you can go about it. You could either just say, if I don't see it, it's not there. You could just block it, so devices that come in, they just can't get on, so you're completely secure in that sense. You do very limited amounts of it, so specific people, specific areas, specific sites, or you can just completely embrace it. And so when you look at that, what really needs to be there in order for you to be able to pick your policies and build them out. So when looking at BYOD, there's really three key pieces to it. There's going to be visibility for your staff and your team, the ability to make policies that overlay over your infrastructure, and then also being able to have control. So something that you introduce BYOD to the Internet of Things, one of the big things that you lose is going to be that control. So just high level about us, I don't really want to go into our product specifically, but what we're doing is we're providing visibility into the infrastructure, anyone, everything that comes on, wired, wireless, VPN, it's there, you can associate you with your device, and everything's just hosted off to the side. Fundamentally, how we help people is providing them with a live inventory of the network connections. So as you allow BYOD, being able to find solutions that can integrate into all the different products that you have. The more information you can feed a single platform, the more robust it can be. And that gives you the ability to build out policies. So who the user is, where they're located, type of device, what's on that device. Also, a lot of schools in the last year or so, CEN, if you guys use like iBoss, Palo Alto, Fortinet, FireEye, Checkpoint, there's this idea now of being able to find large pieces of information about what's on the network and being able to share that between different types of solutions to correlate alerts and events together so you have a better picture of what actually is happening on the environment. So when you look into environments today, what you're typically seeing is antivirus, mobile device management, so K through 12, mobile device management is huge. Does anyone here currently today use MDM? Okay. And then antivirus, required, suggested. Who here is using specific next-gen firewalls? Okay. And then content filtering. Anyone do CEN? Logs. Right? So there's lots of different technologies out there. So how do you get them all on the same page together and communicating with one another? So visibility, obviously we're working with one school, Connecticut, 40 different locations. I think their staff maybe 3 to 5 tops. So as they're trying to go through and enable BYOD out to their students, they're running into some specific issues. So being able to look at different schools, understanding what's connecting, where they're connecting, who's there, what the device is, who's on that specific device, just visibility in general. How many times have you guys gotten an alert from maybe like an iBoss, where you take a look at it, get the IP address, you want to be able to have to go through. I've talked to a couple of schools where some of the private schools, they have a Google Doc, and when students come in, the IT staff goes to each classroom, has the student's name there, and they take the device individually and put the MAC address into the Google Doc. And so when they actually have something bad happen on the network, they go into the Google Doc, and then they find out who specific that user is. So fundamentally, even if it's more manual, visibility is going to be huge. Be able to enable BYOD and one-to-one. Also, if you guys are going to make investments into lots of expensive devices, if you get a fund or something like that, wouldn't it be helpful to understand which student is on the device at that time? Once you start having that visibility into the infrastructure, you can start to build policies. So student comes in, they have the mobile device management agent installed, they're up to date on their antivirus, you let them into your private network or your secure environment. Same user comes in, but they don't have the MDM software, maybe they're not up to date with their antivirus. You really want them to go on your infrastructure where the other students are. As school was working with, they had it very tied off where students had their own individual SSID, completely separate. And what actually brought them down, which they didn't think about, is the teacher that would bring the laptop home and come back the next day with the virus, which ended up getting on one of their servers. just being able to understand everything that's there, what's on it, is going to be crucial. So once you start to have different types of technologies on the environment, what's going to be important is being able to have them communicate with one another. So as users come in, they have bad software. You've already made that investment into your firewalls, your content filters. So how do you proactively identify? So you want to just make sure that when you do have visibility, you have a very quick process to be able to identify that when this happens, it could be A, B, and C. Let's say one that's really a high alert, A, being able to just quickly identify who the user is, what the device is, where it's located. So again, visibility, just being able to tie everything together. So who here today builds out policies? So taking into consideration the locations, the students, the faculty, the staff, maybe the time of day. Do you have different policies put in place when it's during class hours? Maybe certain applications aren't allowed versus when it's after school hours and maybe they're just at sports or class, anything like that. Has anyone ever kind of taken a look at specifics in terms of locations, anything on different grades? I know a lot of like boarding schools, private schools actually restrict internet access based off of the student's grade. So seniors can stay on a little bit later than the juniors, sophomores, freshmen, they have maybe a little bit of time on the internet, different types of applications. So being able to pull responsibilities off of different users. So when you start building up the visibility into different groups, you start to build out different types of access. So guest access, being able to simplify the onboarding experience. At the end of the day, what you're trying to do is offer a good experience to your end users. So think about it more as a service. So if you're going to start to say that we're going to allow students to bring devices, we're going to start to leverage our devices, making it very simple for them to just come into classroom, boot the machine up, get on to where they need to be. You don't really want to have the students coming down with tickets. Obviously, that would affect the class, it would affect their experience within that class. And so, when you have the device come in, you understand who the user is. You can look at the software, the different types of applications that are on it, and then based on that type of information, you can determine if that person should be on the infrastructure or not. And that's all, again, going to be based on the visibility that we're getting from different infrastructure solutions. So, just, I guess we'll kind of start here. When you look at onboarding and you guys enable BYOD one-to-one, just I guess I'll kind of build up. Who here offers, when the user comes in to the network, who here has one SSID that they see specifically for your school? One. Okay. Who has two? Three? Four? Five? Over five? So some of the schools that we work with, they want to enable simple, secure BYOD. You'll run into scenarios where schools make different SSIDs for different functions. So you have one for guest, you'll have one for one-to-one, you'll have one for BYOD. So when you're trying to build out this service or you're trying to offer a great user experience, the idea is, let's just offer maybe one. User can come in, they get greeted by your custom scripts, your images. We just put this together really quickly to give an example of it. But you can get them to this portal. They can go through. They can look at what the different options are. They can make their own choice. There's a lot of schools. There's one we worked with. They had, I think it was 6. And if you just clicked on the wrong one, you just couldn't go anywhere. I know how many people have gone to a meeting somewhere, and the first thing you say is, what's the password? What do I connect to? What's the password? Why don't you just hit something like this, take a look at it, and simply log yourself on real quickly. So it's again, being able to simplify the process of getting the device onto the network for the end user, making sure that they're having a really good experience with it. They're not calling you, complaining about anything. But at the same time, the way that you make it so simple for them and so streamlined, it's providing your team with the visibility, the idea of being able to understand everything that's on your network, being able to tie everything together, feed that to go through that registration process. What they were able to do is identify specific users, device, what IP that device is always on, and they also cross-referenced it to a cyberbullying software. So when students, they had an issue with students bullying, what they were able to do is simply just take an IP address associated to that MAC, that user. They could do it historically, so if they knew something happened 6 months ago, they could go back and snapshot and understand who the users were. And so a lot of the things that we see with K-12 is you enable BYOD, but you kind of push them off to the side with their own SSID, pre-shared key, not necessarily tying any user to a device. So things like this, obviously it's not a great scenario, but always good to be able to at any given time, when police or whatever show up, just being able to say, I know everything that was on my network, this is who it is. And so we've had a couple of schools that have run into issues with cyberbullying threats, and they just needed to have that type of visibility. We also have a LinkedIn group, it's over 7,000 users, specific topics to BYOD, how people are dealing with BYOD, how they plan for it. So I'd suggest if you guys aren't part of it, definitely take a look at it. And then we also have some case studies if you guys ever want to take a look at it as well. Talk about specific uses, scenarios. So any questions?
One of the challenges we're having, we have a BYOD, we have world management in place, but trying to determine what to do with someone bridges roles. So for instance, at a university, we have segregated networks for faculty, staff, and students. Some people are both staff and student. We need to access different resources, but the resources do need to be kept on segregated network with different network access control policies. Trying to let them consolidate down to say one SSID while actually having the ability without logging in and logging out of, say, network access control system, being able to just transition between those networks without having to switch SSIDs. Are there any, I'm sorry, I've not had enough coffee to sound polyglot on this, but are there any techniques or technology or policy solutions that can assist with that, sort of just separating out your networks by function and then having them each managed by that?
Yeah, so for a specific user, I mean, what types of policies is it just based off of that specific user? Or you also, when you build out policies, and you take into consideration the types of devices that they're on? So like a policy potentially could be this user and on this specific device you can get access. You can also start to take into consideration if you know their schedule, when they might actually need to access that information, you can start to put in their schedule and make user groups, build policies of access based on when they should be, where they should be, what types of devices that they're on. You definitely, off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly the same user, the same place, just needs to transfer back and forth off their user group.
That's a real issue because we may have, a perfect example is we have a student who may be working in the bursar's office. Now, they take their lunch break during their, and so they need to be on the student resources for lunch break to do their homework. But when it's time for them to use their BYOD device to start doing